Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Tuesday, September 24th, 2019. And today we're going to be covering the news that came out today. News that came out today about Nancy Pelosi announcing an impeachment inquiry against President Donald Trump. So this is something that is very important in terms of our political discussion. President Trump now has an impeachment inquiry against him. Essentially, the Democratic Party wants to impeach President Trump. Now, not everyone in the Democratic Party is on board. A number of 2020 Democratic candidates are in favor, though there are some that have pretty much stood back a little bit against it. For example, Representative Tulsi Gabbard, who said that this would divide the country even more. But again, we have a number of notable Democrats that are actually announcing that they do support the impeachment of President Trump. So this pretty much came out with a whistleblower that said President Trump essentially pressured the Ukrainian president to find dirt on Vice President Joe Biden. Essentially, that would just say that President Trump tried to get a foreign power to intervene in a presidential election. This is something that they want to look into. They did after, actually it mentions the Robert Mueller investigation, but that is something that also brought up the idea of impeachment. But as of now, this is actually becoming a very realistic possibility to be impeached in the House. We'll talk about where it goes from there. A lot of people do not know how the impeachment process works. Essentially, a simple majority in the House of Representatives to start the impeachment process fully. A simple majority vote. So, for example, President Bill Clinton was impeached after winning a re-election bid. He was impeached, but the Senate had canceled out the vote because you need a 2/3 vote. So essentially what happens is a simple majority votes to start the impeachment trial. It goes on to the United States Senate, and then the Senate will need a 2/3 vote in order to remove a president from office. So although the House of Representatives may be a simple majority, which the Democratic Party has, they definitely do not have a majority or even close to a supermajority, which would be 67 out of the 100 seats needed to win in the United States Senate alone. So essentially, we need to see 20 Republicans cross over and vote for Donald Trump's impeachment, which, of course, any Republican who ever wants to win re-election ever again will not do, because that's pretty much political suicide. Any Republicans pretty much vote for Donald Trump's impeachment, except for maybe Justin Amash, who's technically an independent in the House. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and take a look at who is supporting the impeachment inquiry against President Trump. Right now, we have 203 representatives supporting an impeachment inquiry, 88 no, not now, or undecided, and 144 who have yet to speak on it. So keep in mind, there's about 200 representatives in the House of Representatives from the Republican Party. Most of them will not be on board here. But as for the Democratic Party, they have 235. Actually, there might be one independent and 199 Republicans. But again, a number of these people over here on this side right here, Charlie Crist, actually, the surprising thing is he used to be a Republican, I'm pretty sure, senator from the state of Florida, but now a Democratic representative. All these people support the Ilhan Omar, I saw her name, support voting for President Trump. Now, that is amongst Democrats. 202 out of the 203 representatives that support the inquiry are Democrats. As for 16 out of the 88 that said no, we have some interesting Democrats. So Lucy McBath, who recently won in Georgia's 6th election, which is pretty interesting considering John Ossoff lost here back in 2017, even though it was an insanely large special election, the most expensive House race in political history. But Lucy McBath, currently from Georgia 6, narrowly won back in 2018. I sort of see why she wouldn't necessarily agree with an impeachment inquiry. She won't win re-election if she does vote for President Trump's impeachment. We have some people from some other areas that are pretty close and that actually need. Tulsi Gabbard is a notable name. I believe that impeachment at this juncture would be terribly divisive for the country. We have some other people that aren't exactly in the worst positions, but still, Oklahoma's 5th, which actually was a safe Republican seat until it flipped on election night. No one expected Oklahoma's 5th, which is pretty interesting. We need all the facts. There should not be a detailed and responsible investigation, not one conducted in a media circus. Connor Lamb, it appears that we will learn more facts in the coming days, and I'll have more to say after that. But yeah, so 16 Democrats are not now or undecided, and we have 17 awaiting a response. Now, in the House of Representatives, there's currently 435 members, which means you need 218 representatives for a majority. The Democratic Party, if they get everyone here in the 17 weighted response minus 2, they will still be able to impeach the president because they have 203 on board right now. And if they just get 15 more, they will be able to impeach President Trump. But there's no guarantee that all these people agree. Even though some of them may be in some safe districts, they still need to worry about their own personal beliefs on this. They're not going to vote for it just because for fun. You know what I mean? So 17 awaiting response, 16 not now or undecided, 202 support. Let's go ahead and see. So this actually covers how it works. You need a simple majority of 435, which is 218, and then it goes on to the Senate where you need 2/3. Again, that is not likely to happen whatsoever. Never actually happened. No president has ever been removed from office, which is something I might add as well. Can the Supreme Court overturn this decision? President Trump has said on Twitter that he would ask the SCOTUS to intervene if Democrats tried to impeach him. That would not happen. That does not work. That's the whole point about separation of powers. And no, the Supreme Court cannot overturn. They have different purposes for obvious reasons. The Supreme Court should not be deciding on whether or not the president should be impeached if one section of the government is fine. So no, the Supreme Court cannot overturn this decision. Party breakdown, we know this: 235 Democrats, 29 Republicans, and 1 independent. And yeah, so in 1998, Republicans held a House majority. Chamber voted largely along party lines to impeach President Clinton, who has actual approval rating went up after the impeachment inquiry. But the Senate now has 53 Republicans, 45 Democrats, and 2 independents. 2 independents that caucus with the Democrats. I don't know why it says who usually vote. They typically always vote, and they caucus with them, so they add to the numbers. But it would require 67 votes, so 20 Republicans and all Democrats and independents would have to vote against President Trump or for his impeachment. Now, pretty much if Trump is removed, which is not going to happen, we're looking at the Senate composition. It's just never going to happen. Vice President Mike Pence would take over, likely would take over for the election bid because President Trump wouldn't be running for re-election if he's no longer in office. But if we look at this overall, I guess, graphic, we do have a number of Democrats. 202 is not a good number whatsoever. Keep in mind the Democrats had less than 200 seats back prior to 2018, and now they have over 200 Democrats agreeing to an impeachment inquiry against President Trump. Now, that is not a good look for President Trump. If he is impeached, it's probably not going to end up good for him. Never really does, except for people like Bill Clinton. And even then, that was only because that was something that, although a lot of Americans did not agree with it, it wasn't exactly as bad as interference with a foreign power. I know some of you guys may have different opinions on that, but I would say, for me personally, Bill Clinton, with his scandal with Monica Lewinsky cheating on his wife, is not as bad, though it is bad in a way. It just is bad in my personal opinion. I think that it is worse to try to influence the general election by digging up dirt on your political opponent. Again, someone's going to spin that into me saying that I don't like Donald Trump. I just do not think that action was smart whatsoever, especially since this has come out. This is definitely not a good look for President Trump. So with 202 supporting Democrats and 16 not now or undecided and 17 awaiting response, we will see probably by the end of the week as to whether or not President Trump will actually have a very close possibility to being impeached. Because right now it is a very, very realistic. Right now there could be a couple Republicans who may not support the president per se. If we look up here, we only have 17 waiting response from the Democratic Party, but there's 100 and 27 from other political parties. From the Republican Party. As for the not now / undecided, let's just minus 16 here. So around 72 people, Republicans, have said no, not now or undecided. So actually more are awaiting a response. So we could actually see maybe a crossover. Right now, this one extra representative is actually the independent Justin Amash, who used to be a Republican. So again, where Republicans stand so far is 0 support, 127 awaiting response. Some of them from safe districts, some of them from not. So we'll go ahead and see how that works. But a lot of these Republicans Let's see what some of them said. Since Democrats are unable to defeat real Donald Trump and lawfully conducted election, they are now focused on trying to unlawfully move him from office. I don't exactly say this is unlawfully. This is how the process works. But a lot of these people are completely against it. And Daniel Crenshaw, I can't believe that's funny. I saw him in person. That's crazy. And I did not know he was a representative until like maybe a month ago or something. I thought he was just an outspoken political commentator. But yeah, so that pretty much wraps up this video about the impeachment inquiry. Short answer, President Trump is not being impeached as of now, but we will possibly see a very realistic impeachment inquiry, and the numbers are definitely going to add up in favor of the Democrats impeaching President Trump, which could turn out to be pretty interesting for the 2020 election. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.